And welcome back to UPSC Warriors channel by Unacademy. This is Soundarya. So today we are going to continue our MCQs discussion from the articles published on 12th December Hindu newspaper. So the topics that we are going to cover today includes secularism, genetic diseases, World Malaria Report 2024 and the Places of Worship Act. This act was in news for quite some time and it is very important for both your prelims as well as mains. So we will discuss all these things today. But before moving to the first question, I have one question, for you all to answer. So read this question: which of the following diseases are caused by the infectious Culex mosquitoes? Okay, so drop a message in the comment section. We are going to discuss this question in the next class. I will take out your name, so drop the answer in the comment box without fail, because we know that certain types of mosquitoes are known to cause more than one diseases, right? So one such mosquito is the Culex mosquito. So this mosquito is responsible for causing which of these diseases? West Nile, Japanese encephalitis. So just read the options and select the correct option. So we will discuss this question in the next class. Now let's get back to our MCQs for today. The first question is framed because of this particular news where Supreme Court raised a question to the UP government for its silence over the recent incident where a boy who was a Muslim was slapped by his fellow students on the order of a teacher. So the Supreme Court condemned this incident, saying that it is in direct violation of Article 21A. So this is again opened the debate about the type of secularism that we have in India and how it is different from the Western secularism. So if you are actually aware of the previous year questions, we have so many questions already asked on these lines. How Indian secularism is different from Western secularism and what is mean by Indian secularism, etc. So let's try to solve this question now. Consider the following statements with reference to the Indian secularism. Okay, so let's read statement 1. India follows Sarva Dharma Samabhava. So you have to be aware of this term so as to know whether it is right or wrong. India has no place for the idea of state-supported religious reform. Okay, so what is the third statement saying? Indian Constitution permits financial support to the religious educational institutions. So what you have to do here, you have to find out how many of the above statements are correct. So let's read the statement 1 now. India follows Sarva Dharma Samabhava. So what is mean by that? This is a concept which translate into equal respect for all the religion. Of course, yes, according to Indian secularism, India will always respect all the religions equally in terms of what? In terms of their value, in terms of their spiritual significance, etc. Clear? So there is no religion which is superior or inferior to any other religion, and this is something that emphasizes the importance of tolerance, harmony, unity, etc. in the country. So this statement is correct. And Indian secularism is also built upon another principle called as Dharm Nirpekshta. What is mean by Dharm Nirpekshta? It means separation of religion from the state in its affairs. But this separation is not watertight as in the case of Western secularism, right? So in India, although this concept is there where the state and the religion is separate, it can interfere in the religious affairs positively, so as to protect all the religions equally and save all the religions from any kind of evil, right? So the statement 1 is correct here. Moving to statement 2. India has no place for the idea of state-supported religious reform. This is false. Why? Because we have Untouchability Acts with us, we have Prevention of Child Marriages Act with us. So what does it mean? So these are the certain types of religious reforms being made by the states, right? So this makes the second statement incorrect. So let's have a quick look at some of the significant features of our Indian secularism. Starting from equal respect, which we know, and the states will not discriminate any particular religion. We have Article 13, we have 21A, 25, 26, 27, 28, etc. So there is non-interference. That is what is something meant by this particular term, dharmnirpekshta. Clear? So the state will not interfere in the functioning of any religion. Clear? And then no official religion in India, and there is state supported religious reforms, as we discussed few seconds before, and there is also a partial financial support given by the states to the religious educational institutions like schools, or for the constructions or for the infrastructure of the religious buildings in this aspect. So these two elements are not there in the Western secularism. Why? In the Western secularism, the state will create laws in isolation with the religious principles. The state will not give any form of financial support for the religious educational institutions. In the Western secularism, there is a complete or the watertight separation between the state and the religion. State will not interfere in the religious activity, not for protecting it and not for respecting it. There is no link at all between the state and the religion, right? So what you have to remember, state will not consider any of the religious principles while making laws. Okay. Now, moving forward from here, so what would be the correct answer for this question? The correct answer is the second statement is wrong and the third statement is correct. Clear? So what is the correct answer for this question? Option B, only 2. Before moving to the second question, I have a very exciting announcement to make here, that Unacademy, has crossed more than 9 years now. So we are so much excited to give you extremely beneficial offer, whereby you will get 50% discount on all your subscription for all the examinations, including UPSC CSE. In addition to that, if you take 9-month subscription plan, after the end of 9 months, you will have another 9 months, subscription getting extended, and same thing goes with your 12-month subscription plan as well. So without much delay, let's ensure that you get joined in this Unacademy UPSC Plus courses. And this is the optional batch, and this is the schedule for UPSC IAS. So please ensure that you join this immediately, and if you want to get further discount, you can use this referral code RIYA50. Now, let's get back to the second question. Indian scientists developed a novel gene therapy treatment for hemophilia. Okay, so this is a very, very serious condition. It is a genetic disorder. I will not reveal how it is actually happening, because you have a question based on that. But this is something which is very significant. Why? Because some 5 patients, on whom this particular therapy was tested, actually showed some positive results, and this is giving us a kind of hope. So let's get to the question now. Which of the following gene mutations is responsible for causing hemophilia A? The question is asking about hemophilia A. So pay attention to all these options here. Either it is F8 or CTFR, hemoglobin beta gene, or oncogene. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is F8 gene. So this particular disease, hemophilia, is caused because of the genetic mutation in the blood clotting factor. So we all have chromosomes, right, where the DNA is present. So this particular genes are present inside the DNA, and these genes are responsible for the formation of protein and for the regular functions of the body, right? So we have our 23rd chromosome, that is allosome, which is called as the sex chromosome, which is responsible for determining the characteristics related to the sex, that is male characteristics and female characteristics in the human body. And this particular chromosome has this gene, that is factor 8 gene, factor 9 gene is present in the 23rd pair of the chromosome. So any mutation to this particular gene is known to cause hemophilia, a condition where the blood clotting is getting reduced. So if at all the person is facing any kind of blood related problems like cuts or wounds where the blood is coming out, the blood will not clot automatically easily. So this is a very severe or a kind of serious condition as well. So now we have to know what are the differences that exist between A, B and C here. So it happens because of the deficiency of clotting factor 8. So the gene is responsible for producing the blood clotting factors, okay, blood clotting proteins. If that is not getting produced because of mutation, it will lead to hemophilia. If there is absence of factor 8 or deficiency of factor 8, it will lead to hemophilia A. So if there is a deficiency of factor 9, it will lead to hemophilia B. And if there is a deficiency of factor 11, it will lead to hemophilia C. Clear? So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is F8 gene. So what are the other genes here and what are the diseases that occur because of the mutation in these genes? Let's have a quick glimpse of all those things now. So let's start with CTFR gene. So this is nothing but cystic fibrosis. Again, it is a genetic condition where the mucus will get secreted, which will be quite thick and sticky, and also known to cause the organs and the damages to the organs and the tissues, and it is mainly because of the mutation in this CFTR gene, that is cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator. So this gene is responsible for maintaining the balance between the salt and the water in the body, right? If that balance is getting affected, this will lead to this condition. And what about HBB mutation, hemoglobin gene? Okay, so when this is getting mutated, it can cause thalassemia. So this is again a serious condition where the production of hemoglobin will get reduced. So this is something which can affect the oxygen carrying capacity as well, leading to a fatigue condition. And last but not the least, we have oncogene. We know that it is responsible for controlling the cell growth and the cell death. So when the cell growth and cell death balance is not maintained in the body, if that is leading to uncontrolled growth of cells in the body, then that can pave way for cancer. So this oncogene, if mutated, can lead to cancer. Clear? So this is why I framed a question on the diseases in the first page and asked you to drop a message in the comment section, because we can frame different types of questions from one particular article. Clear? So now moving forward from here, we have the third question. We have totally 4 questions with us, and third question is about the malaria report recently released by the World Health Organization. So let's read the first statement. The estimated malaria cases declined in India and Indonesia in the year 22 to 23. So if you have someone, if you are someone who has read the headlines, then probably this statement would be confusing. Okay, so let's get to know why it is so. India accounted for about half of all estimated cases in the Southeast Asian region. So this was the headlines of your newspaper. So these two statements seem quite contradictory. So what is the correct answer here? It is asking for the incorrect statements. The answer is neither one nor two. Both these statements are correct. Of course, India accounts for about half of the total estimated cases in the Southeast Asian region. The decline is also seen in terms of the malaria cases in India and Indonesia. So let's get into the brief of this report now. We actually, came to know so many interesting facts that we are going to see here. India made a remarkable success exiting, this is very important, high burden, high impact group of endemic countries with malaria. So India is not in that list of what? High burden, high impact group of endemic countries with malaria. And what is the other thing that you have to note here? So these are the regions which are high, actually having high incidences of malaria cases globally. Clear? So the one with the dark shade has probably more number of cases than with the lighter sheets. And then country's malaria cases declined. How much? By 69%. From when? From 2017 to 2023. So from 17 to 2023, India witnessed a decline in malaria cases. It is mainly because of the interference with respect to the combination drugs usage, with respect to, targeted approaches, especially in the high risk zones, etc. So these are some of the measures that actually paved way for achieving this decline. And globally, malaria cases still remain high, and it is a cause of concern, especially we can see here in the African region with total of 263 million cases. Now, we have to also note here that these are some of the regions which got recently declared as malaria free. So in order to declare, as a malaria free, we need the condition, that is, it requires 3 consecutive years of zero indigenous malaria cases. Okay, and then get to know what are the countries which has recently got removed from this list. Okay, so then World Health Organization says that the Southeast Asia region alone accounts for 1.5%, of which India alone, is contributing to nearly half of the cases. So although India witnessed a decline, its contribution to the Southeast Asian region in terms of malaria cases is very high. And then as of November 2024, 44 countries including Egypt in the African region was declared as malaria free. Okay, so since Egypt is in this African zone, don't get confused that it is not actually removed. So this is removed. Chances are there for you, to get a question on the similar lines. Now, let's get to the fourth question. It is again very important because you have to understand so many things around this Places of Worship Act. Why? Because this act is in debate in recent times, mainly after the district court ordered for the formation of investigation committee to conduct the survey of this particular masjid. Okay, so Shahi Masjid, so as to find out which religious group is actually entitled to own the property rights. So let's learn about this question in detail now. So let's see the question first. Consider the following statements with reference to Places of Worship Act 1991. This act prohibits converting or altering the character of any place of worship as they were on 15th of August 1947. So this statement is actually correct. So this is what this act is meant for. So as to protect the nature of the religious place of worship as it was existing on the 15th of August 1947. So on 15th of August 1947, if a particular place of worship was a mosque, it has to be maintained as a mosque only. So we are not supposed to change the religious character of a mosque, from mosque to a temple, from temple to a mosque, etc. And then this act is not applicable for the suits aimed to assert the right of ownership. Okay, so we'll come to this statement in a while. And then the term religious character does not define the term, the act does not define the term religious character. So the question is asking you to find out how many statements given here are correct. So let's get to the topic now. So how this act was formed? This act was formed in the year 1991 by P.V. Narasimha Rao government. Why? So as to protect the places of worship, and especially we had Babar Masjid case filed on that particular period of time, which was already a litigation, right? So following that, so many other Hindu reform sabhas came up with similar kind of suits. So in order to protect the religious places, this Place of Worship Act was first enacted, and the aim of this act was to prohibit the conversion of the religious place. And then so this act declares that religious character of a place of worship should be the same as it was on 15th of August 1947. So no person shall convert any place of worship. But this act excluded Babar Masjid case. Why? Because it was already a litigation then. But then what is the issue with respect to this particular act? This act was again, exempted for Gyanvapi worshippers case as well as Shahi Masjid case. So why, on what grounds did the court find that this act is not applicable? So when we say this act is not applicable, it means that the claim on these two cases are taken into consideration. So how do these two suits were taken into consideration? It is because of the different interpretation of the Places of Worship Act by the courts, and that interpretation is something which you have to remember. See, in this particular Gyanvapi case, the court found that the suits which aimed to assert the right of worship of the Hindu deities did not seek to convert the status of the mosque. So here the claim was to actually get their right back. Okay, so here the suit was actually claiming what? To get the right to worship and not to convert the place of worship from one form to another, but then allow a group of people to enter and worship the place. So what happened to the Allahabad case? So here the court stated that the religious character is again not mentioned in the act. So it is subjected to interpretation. So on these two grounds only, the court exempted this particular act in taking into the consideration while dealing with particular suits or accepting the suits in first place. So what should be the correct answer here? The correct answer is, so this is true and this is also true. All the three is the correct answer. That's it for today from my side. I hope you find these questions useful. So drop a message in the comment section, and if you have not subscribed to UPSC Warriors channel, please subscribe. Thank you and take care.